Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you a little mixed media collage snowman canvas that I made today on the Art Joy of Sharing live stream show. And this is the speed up version. I was showing you a few cards that I received in the mail, one from Peg, one from Rennie, and one from Cheryl. And then I was talking about the mood board, and that's what this little canvas was inspired by. When we offer you a mood board every month in Art Joy of Sharing Art Community over on the Facebook, and if you haven't joined yet, I'll put a link below. This is for inspiring you throughout the month. You can make anything. You can make a tag, an ATC, a card, art journal page, a canvas, whatever type of thing you wanted to make. You could use one one little image from it. Maybe you just want to use circles because you were inspired by the different circle shapes on the mood board. Maybe you want to use the colors, that kind of dusty, frosty red and deep gray blue that are on there. Maybe you want to use, I keep talking about my bracelets. I'm obsessed with these bracelets. I'll put a link below to the bracelets. They're free trade bracelets made by some ladies in Nepal, and they're sold by Sashka Company. I can put a link below. They've got all different designs. I'm obsessed. They're crocheted bead bangles, and they keep coming up with new designs. I keep wanting to buy more. So I keep talking about them in the live stream because I'm so obsessed. I sent one to Peg, and she was wearing hers too on the show. So anyway, yeah, the mood board, it's just inspiration. That's a gift from Julie that says Art Joy of Sharing and has my name on the side. She also sent one to Peg. Hers says Peg. Mine says Shell. Imagine that. So I had these papers, these gel printed papers that I made the other day when I was gel printing on the vinyl to cover those butter cookie tins that were in the video. Was it yesterday? I don't know. Anyway, and I had these, as I was printing on the vinyl, I also had leftover paint that I picked up on papers. And so I wanted to use these. I was looking at the mood board, and I liked that kind of dark sky in the back of the lot of the pictures, behind the snowman, behind the snowy city scene, those colors of kind of Payne's gray and blue and a little bit of warm colors like quinacridone gold. So I picked a few of these papers. Now these papers have shimmer on them because I was using PBO Dyna acrylic paints when I was printing for the vinyl. So it's shimmery in places and has some pattern from stencils, but the matte medium is going to kind of really dull it down a lot. But you can still kind of see those shimmery colors in there and the pattern. I wasn't picking anything that had a lot of pattern on it. It was more about the color, the deep blues, and those type of colors was what was more inspiring me for the background. So I'm using Liquitex Matte Gel Medium. This paper is just printer paper, nothing fancy. There's not any fancy paper at all here. It's just printer paper, half sheets or full sheets that I had on my desk as I was printing the vinyl. This is what happens. You end up with a lot more gel prints than you used in your project, especially when it was something like the vinyl, the matte violet vinyl I was gel printing on wasn't absorbing paint, so I was ending up with 3 and 4 different pulls off the plate of the paint, because even if I did only put a very thin coat of paint on the gel plate, the vinyl just wasn't picking up that much. It was just getting like a coating on the top because, of course, vinyl is a plasticky, non-porous surface. So then the excess paint that I needed to pick up, I used paper so that I could move on to another color or another pattern as I was printing on the vinyl. So that's where these papers are from. Some people have commented that they like knowing. I'm going to do this more in the new year. Gel printing, print to project, all in one video, so that you see me print some things and then you see what I used them for, as opposed to, oh, here's all these prints and now I'm going to make something, but you don't know where the prints came from so much. I'm going to try to do that more in the upcoming year because I think people appreciate that idea, and that's the comments that I've been getting from uh, these recent videos that I made where I gel printed and then covered things with the gel prints. So I am going to try to do that more. The drawback for me personally on that is that I can only print a little bit, and then I got to take those things. I got to plan more. I got to think about, okay, this is what I want to make. These are the colors and patterns I want to use. Because usually when I gel print, I just want to. I mean, I could do it for 8 or 10 hours. I just want to make thousands of prints because it's so fun and rewarding, and you're always surprised by what you get. So yeah, that's the only downfall to that idea. Most of us do not gel print specifically for something. Or if we do, we end up with way more prints than we needed for the project. And that's how come I have baskets and baskets of sorted papers, because I always have way more than I need. I'll never use them all up. Someday my descendants will have to figure out what to do with tons of beautiful paper. Hopefully one of my descendants will like using paper in art, because otherwise it's just going to go in the trash. That's okay. It doesn't matter. So then after I was done making my kind of night sky collage here on the background, and by the way, this is a 6x6 stretch canvas that I'm working on. So I'm making sure everything is sealed down with the matte medium, and then I finished my sky, and now I'm working on the snow drifts at the bottom. The thing about snow, one of those things about snow is it's a white thing, and when we look at white, we perceive it as the lack of color. But in fact, white is comprised of grays and blues and not really any white at all. So I'm using those type of prints, light prints that have white and blue and maybe a little bit of pink and maybe a little bit of gray type colors to make my snow. I'm not just getting a pure white sheet of paper to make my snow and my snowman, because that's just not realistic. I'm making sure that all of the edges of my canvas are covered with collage so that you can just put a push pin in your drywall and stick it up. It's not needing to be framed. You could frame it, but it's not needing to be. That's how I like to do my canvases. And then I'm taking a little bit of blue paint. I was manipulating the canvas a lot, and some of the paper was still wet, and so it was pulling up fingerprints on the edges where the glue was sticking to the glue on my fingers and pulling up a little bit of the paint. So I needed to color those back in. I also needed to blend a little bit where there was white edges that I didn't appreciate. So I want it to all look similar but different to give me more interest. So this is my basket of neutral whites that I have a small basket of smaller pieces, and then I have a larger basket of full sheets, and I put the small basket on top of the large basket, and then all the baskets are stacked on a shelf and labeled by color. That's how I deal with my collage material, and it takes up a lot of space on the shelf. I mean, there's two shelves full of assorted colored paper, but each basket set is labeled with a tag that says what colors are in it. So then if I want pink, I can grab this, and I end up with everything from peach to corals and bright pinks and even fluorescent, but they're at least all in the same basket. So I can sort through. That's how I do, because I do a lot of collage, a lot. So I took some of those neutral whites, and I took a couple different paper punches and punched out some shapes of stars and flowers, which I am making into snowflakes. They might be stars and flowers, but they can also be snowflakes. Snowflakes are those shapes. So gluing those down with the matte medium all over in the sky of the canvas, all the way around the edges too, making sure that it's covered completely around the edges. and using my Distress Collage brush to make sure that everything's pressed down. If you see things on the screen that I'm using that you want to find, you can use my Amazon store. I have everything there on my Amazon store, and there's a link below the video. You click there, and then you go over to my, it's called an influencer store. I don't know that I influence anybody, but I am giving you a link to the things that I use frequently, like the Distress Collage brush, the Liquitex Matte Medium, gel plates, paint, these type of things that you see all the time on my screen. You can find by just clicking to that link. If you do use that link and go over to my Amazon store, anything that you buy on Amazon while you've used my link does benefit my channel by giving me a few cents. So even if you go over there and you don't buy any of the art stuff, but you buy something else, your dog food or whatever, I still get a little bit of credit for that. I appreciate that. I know people have not been using it as much because I haven't been talking about it, but I always appreciate it when you use my Amazon links. Amazon should give up some of that money they're making, right? Especially if I sent you there. They should share. Maybe then I could go fly up to the outer atmosphere on a SpaceX rocket if they would share their money. No, that's not going to happen. I get like, you know, an eighth of a cent or something, but I mean, it can accumulate a little bit. So I haven't talked about that much, but recently, but you can do that. Also, if you're feeling generous this time of year, you can donate to my channel by using my PayPal donation button below the video. That's helpful as well. Helps me buy all this new stuff that I use on my channel. So I'm continuing to tear bits of paper. I've got light blues, whites with pattern. I enjoy this look, this collage-y, mosaic-y, torn, not perfect look for my art as opposed to doing an acrylic painting. I could do the same thing by painting with acrylic, right? You'd make something super cute. But I like this. I don't want to say grungy because it's not exactly grungy, but it's, you know what I mean. It's a different look. It's a mixed media look. I'm using a lot of different products to make this effect of something a little bit different than just your average acrylic painting or watercolor painting. Not that I don't like doing those things, because I do, and you see them on my channel. But this type of thing is my favorite. This is what I like to do with my time, and what I would do a lot more of if I had time to just do it. Now these bits of evergreen trees that I'm putting on. The other day I was covering a treat tin that was a Tazo tea tin, and I punched out some letters out of a piece of green cardstock using a die cut thing. Had all the letters on one little die, and I needed the word treats, and so I used a little piece of cardstock that was green and punched it out all at once. This is the leftover bit of paper from that. I don't throw it away because I know I can use it. It's interesting. It's got pattern and shape on it. And yeah, it's cardstock, which makes it a little bit more difficult to collage with, but it's cool, right? It looks cool. And when you look at the close-ups, you'll see it a little bit more. You can see that there's letters in it. The background, the blues and stuff from the background are showing through because there's holes in the paper, but that makes a shadow and light effect that fascinates me. So I enjoy that, and that's the reason that I used the punched up paper and I just tore it into the shape of pointy evergreen bushes and then glued it down with matte medium, and there you go. I did add a third one that was just some deli paper that had some printed green on it, because I think that having 3 is better than having 2. Odd numbers, just I like them better, and I think that people's brains accept it better. So to make the hat, the scarf, and the nose and the body of the snowman, I did tear. When I got to the arms, my fingers were not able to tear small enough, and so I did use a little bit of scissor. And then for the eyes, the mouth, and the buttons, I used a Pentel pocket brush, which is an India ink brush, and just, kind of pat, 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 pat. I didn't want a real regular shape because everything else is torn, but I just couldn't tear something small enough for those things today. I have torn really tiny things for collage before. I think it's when my nails are longer. Sometimes my hands just don't want to do it. So wasn't tearing teeny, 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 tiny things today. Sometimes you don't. Glue all over my fingers as well. So I did smear a little bit right there. And so I had to wipe it back and then redraw his face. I was putting on the brim of the hat to make it a little bit different color than the body of the hat. It's like a stocking hat. And I got glue on the not quite dry India ink and smeared it, so I had to wipe it back, but no big deal. I also put a little bit of highlight on with my fingers with some white gesso, just to brighten up one side of the body to make it have highlight as if the light is shining on it from the right-hand side. And it had a lot of pattern because I put some printed tissue over it, and so it had a lot of pattern, and I calmed it down a little bit. These are watercolor pencils, Shazam watercolor pencils that Peg sent me, and I decided to use them for my shading today. I was looking for the darkest blue one that I could find and drawing it on, and then I also used a light blue as well. And then blending that out with a water brush. It does come with a brush that you could dip in water, but I'm just using my little Arteza brush that has water in the barrel that I can squeeze. So you see me using that all the time. Another thing you can get over on Amazon using my influencer store thing, whatever it is. It's in there. Water brush is really handy for lots of things. And yeah, shadowing around the outside and some into the areas of shade that would be on the snowman, around the outsides of the bushes, things like that, to give a little bit of structure without drawing illustration lines. I'm blending this. So then I wanted to add a little bit of light green to the right-hand side of the bushes, and the watercolor pencil was too hard. And so I grabbed these Stabilo Woodies, which have a softer lead, although it's not made out of lead. They're also a water-soluble pencil. They're fat. And I added some pink cheeks. I added a little bit of white highlight and some light green and dark green with the Woodies. And I did splatter with a Posca pen. There we go. And then I also at the end added some sparkle by using some iridescent glitter glue from Ranger, the Stickles brand. You guys have seen me use that 1,000 times. I use it a lot. And that was it. I hope that you have enjoyed this speed up video of the live stream. And if you have, please remember to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question below, and subscribe and turn on your notification bells if you haven't already. Of course, always ask you to do those things to support my channel. And that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.